Next up, we have H 3945 by Representative Yao. And I believe Chief Dukes, you're going to be up to bat one more time for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to speak on H 3945. And I will say that from a resource protection standpoint, the department has no concerns with this bill. I think it's worth noting that as long as someone is in compliance with all of their FAA and drone certification licenses, there's nothing currently in law that prohibits the activities that would be allowed by this bill. If the goal is to put some sidebars or guide rails on the activity, then this bill would certainly be a good start. The one item that did give us some concern or question is we would respectfully request an amendment to remove the term relocate from that'd be Section A1 and Section D1. Reason being is that there are already statutes on the books that prohibit relocation of feral swine, and coyotes can only be relocated under very specific conditions. So we believe the bill without that would suffice and would provide the guidance necessary from the sponsors.
All right, so other than that one word in the bill, the department has no problems with it at all?
Correct.
We understand, okay. And we're not shooting hogs or coyotes from an unmanned drone. We're just looking at them.
I think you're going to have permission from somebody other than DNR to do that.
All right. Yes, sir, Mr. Representative Hyatt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Billy, have we done about all we can do killing hogs and still not been successful?
I'm sorry?
Have we done about all we can do at the state of killing hogs and still not been successful?
I don't know I would categorize it quite that way, but we are working. The technology continues to evolve. The traps are better. There is more effort being put into it. We have not. Have we eliminated hogs? Absolutely not. In certain areas, we have considerably reduced hog damage. We are hopeful. We are utilizing USDA Wildlife Services for aerial shooting now, and some of the newer traps are working well. What we hear on a toxicant for feral swine is still quite some time off, but they are a very, very tough foe and very resilient foe. In some cases, the best we can do is hope to reduce damage and get them to a manageable level.
You can just about shoot them 24/7 now, though, can't you?
Absolutely. You can shoot them 24/7, thermals, etc. We focus our efforts primarily on trapping because of the social structure of hogs. We're trying to remove entire family groups instead of educating one hog at a time and making them more difficult to trap. But it will be an ongoing battle for many years, I'm afraid, Mr. Chairman.
What's the biggest one you ever killed?
Me personally?
No, the DNR scene.
We don't keep records. Probably not what you see on Facebook. probably 200, 250 pounds.
Yeah, I got some of those bigger in my district. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Upon the recommendation of DNR, I propose that we make this amendment to 3945, Section 509580, A1 and D1 to strike the words relocate.
All right. Do I have a second? All right. Ellie, will you call the roll?
Representative Bauer. Aye. Representative Gibson. Aye. Representative Hart. Aye. Representative Hyatt. Aye. Representative Forrest.
Aye. So vote of 5-0, the amendment passes. Is there any more discussion on the bill or questions that need to be answered? Mr. Representative Neese, yes, sir.
Just a follow-up to your previous question and what Representative Hyatt said. Last year we looked at helicopters. Now we're looking at drones. Is there anything else in the pipeline, or will we be talking about this again next year?
I'm sorry, Mr. Neese. You said
That's to you or to DNR?
I think Majority Leader Hyatt made it abundantly clear that we've probably done about everything we possibly could. Chief Dukes, do you have any more suggestions on what we need to do for eradication of feral hogs?
Yeah, I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I think we've done just about everything. As far as methods and times, we got the pedal to the metal on that. As far as emerging technologies, there are a lot of people spending a lot of time and effort and brainpower on this problem, which just goes to show you how big of a problem it is, how difficult it is to solve. But I had mentioned briefly the use of toxicants. A species-specific poison is what we're talking about, and it's not the poison itself is species-specific, but the delivery systems have to be, because we're all aware of the problems of non-target poisoning, and what kills pigs also kills black bears. Kills them graveyard dead in 2 hours kind of thing. So USDA Veterinary Services and Wildlife Services Research and Development is working on that, have been for quite some time. I will stand here and say fairly confidently that there will be no silver bullet. It will require a lot of hands on deck, cooperation of public and private entities. Private landowners need to get on board with removing hogs. We in DNR have been around this game for a long time, and we get a lot of complaining and not a lot of action. And so, it's going to require everybody, again, public and private sector working together to address this effectively. And we just got to keep plugging away. You got to remove multiple hogs at one time and as many as you can.
And I understand, I run hogs, and when you're getting 2.5 litters a year and they're so smart, I understand the problem. Are there other states that have had successes that were able to use those best practices to go along with what US is doing?
Certainly. If only one state that I'm aware of, and I think that was maybe New York, had successfully eradicated hogs. That was following a very recent invasion in which they were able to get ahead of the population curve and remove all the breeding stock that they had there. Other states are largely in the same boat as us. They have employed a variety of different techniques. One innovative technique being that Tennessee and Kansas actually prohibited or forbid the sport hunting of hogs to remove the incentive for people to import hogs, move hogs, and those type things. Private landowners can still kill them on their lands, but there's no sport hunting in general for pigs. We, on the other hand, are much more liberal in terms of what you can do, as we've mentioned, day and night, guns, thermals, et cetera. But I would say across the board, most are fighting the same battle that we are.
So I know we've exhausted all our options. Do not want to belabor this point, but have other states done something similar to with this drone technology, looking for the feral hogs?
In a variety of different forms, not so much that I have seen for hogs and coyotes. Drones is one of those things that have exploded on the scene.
Yep.
So it seems in the last 10 years. So I expect there's a lot going on. A lot of these activities go on. Other states are not currently regulating them, except for what we're seeing now is regulating the use of drones for recovery of wounded deer at night and those type things that are more common and more traditional sport hunting related.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dukes. Mr. Gibson?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Bill number 3945.
All right, motion and second. Ellie, will you call the roll, please?
Representative Bauer. Representative Gibson. Representative Harts. Representative Hyatt. Representative Forrest.
Aye.
5-0.
With a vote of 5-0, 3945 will move on to full committee, and this wraps it up. And I appreciate everybody attending, and thank you so much.